Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So, Dandapranams to all the devotees. Thank you all for joining in for our study session this afternoon. We'll start with the prayers. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnana Anjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yudapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parjana Sahitam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namo Vishnu Padhaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nidhi Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaura Dushe Namaha Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakti Shaktikam He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namosute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriya Pancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrind ki jai Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada Srila Gurudeva ki jai Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Mande Shri Gurun Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Krishna Chaitanyam Ishwaram Harihi Om Tatsat Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tarale Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tad Bhaktaya Namo Namaha Hare Krishna. So, Dandat Pranams to all the devotees. Thank you all for joining in. So, we are reading from teachings of Lord Chaitanya. We discussed last time we were doing TLC. We discussed how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is now meeting Sanatana Goswami. Sanatana Goswami finally escapes the jail, isn't it? He escapes the prison house and he somehow reaches Banaras, where he knows that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is there. So, he goes to meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. At that time, what happens? There is his brother-in-law who gives him a nice shawl, isn't it? And then he wears that shawl, and when he goes in front of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu does not like our Sanatana Goswami wearing such an expensive shawl. So basically, he does not say anything, but Sanatana Goswami understands it. And then he goes and exchanges that shawl with another person having a torn shawl. So in this way, Sanatana Goswami did not even want to have a blanket. That was not giving pleasure to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, right? And how much was his sense of renunciation also, right? He came with a servant. He had about 8 gold coins with him, and then the innkeeper was trying to kill both of them because he had some allies, some spy people who tell them that this person is having so much of gold coins, and what will the innkeeper do? They will just put something in the drink or something, and then when they fall unconscious, that time they will rob that person of everything. So and sometimes even kill them, right? So in this way, Sanatana Goswami, when he understood that this innkeeper is treating me so nicely unnecessarily, he actually asks his servant, are you having any lot of money with you? And then this servant of Sanatana Goswami, he tells, I have 7 gold coins. And he actually gives the 7 gold coins. And the innkeeper actually tells him that I was about to kill you for these gold coins, but good that you gave me on your own. Now I will help you find your path to go to Banaras and meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But then Sanatana Goswami was still suspicious because he was being still very nice to him. So then later on, his servant tells that I still have 1 more gold coin. When he tells that, then Sanatana Goswami understands this person is not ready to come with me. He tells him, okay, you take that 1 gold coin, you go back. So in this way, he sends the servant and he goes alone to Banaras to meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Right? And now we're going to read what happens when he actually knows that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is actually staying in the house of Chandrasekhar Acharya. So he goes, he goes outside and he just simply stands there. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we know that he's non-different from Krishna. So he automatically understands that, oh, my dear servant Sanatana has come. So he sends his servant to actually go out and check if anybody has come. Right? Sanatana Goswami is not in a proper Vaishnava attire and all that. He was serving under the Nawab. So he was, Dabir Khas and Sakara Malik. Those were the names given to Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami. So he just escaped from the prison and somehow he's ran, using the gold coins given by Rupa Goswami. He bribed the prison officials. He ran away. And finally, he's come to Banaras. So he's having a beard. He's having some kind of some shawl. He's looking like a Muslim, right? Because he was serving the Muslim Nawab. So he's looking like a Muslim mendicant now, right? Although not opulent because he's walked all the way. So he's looking like a Muslim person. He's not looking in any way like a sadhu, right? So when this person who's a servant of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes and sees outside, he sees Sanatana Goswami. But still, he is not able to recognize him as a sadhu because he is wearing tattered clothes. He is having beard. From no angle is he looking like a sadhu. So he goes and tells Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, there is nobody. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu knows because he is the Paramatma. He knows that Sanatana Goswami is outside. He tells, is there nobody outside? And then the servant says, there is one old fakir kind of person, but there is no devotee there. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, bring him to me. Right? He is the person I'm looking for. Bring him to me like that. So that's how the Lord recognizes his devotee in any form. Similarly, a devotee also recognizes the Lord in whichever form he comes. Right? Whether the Lord comes as Krishna or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or as Mohini Murti, does not matter. Whatever form the Lord takes, right? A pure devotee will recognize, right? One of the devotees was saying in a class, like for example, if a mother, right, we go for the annual day of our children, isn't it? So when we see our children on the stage, we are able to recognize our child, whatever beige push or whatever makeup the child has put. Only a mother can recognize the child, right? But nobody else can recognize the child. So similarly, because the mother has so much love for the child, the mother always recognizes the child in whatever makeup the child may be, whatever way the child disguises herself or himself, right? Of course, in today's stage shows are so professional. Somehow you cannot even make out. But, in terms of the point that is made out here is the love, right? There's so much transparency or there is so much love that one cannot disguise oneself from the other. Like, for example, even during the Rasa Leela, when Radharani is thinking, oh, Krishna is only dancing with me. And then Krishna disappears. And when Radharani goes searching, right, Krishna appears in his four-handed form. And then when the gopis come, he said, yeah, Krishna must have gone somewhere there, go there. And then the gopis all go away. But when Radharani comes there and asks, right, Krishna is no longer able to maintain his Vishnu form, right? When the love is intense, right, the person is not able to hide himself, right? So the maximum love that can be there, which is there in the spiritual world, can be exhibited only between the love of a mother for the child, right? So in that way, Sanatana Goswami, although he was looking like a Muslim mendicant with a tattered clothes and beard and all, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu could still sense that his devotee is there, even without seeing. And similarly, Sanatana Goswami also knew that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Shri Krishna. So in the heart of hearts, the devotee always wants to please the Lord. The Lord always wants to please the devotee. So let's continue reading. Devotees can raise your hands, whoever wants to read, and then we'll continue this. Okay, when he reached Banaras, Sanatana learned that the Lord was there and he became overjoyed. He was informed by the people that the Lord was staying at the house of Chandrasekhara. And Sanatana went there. Although Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was inside the house, he could understand that Sanatana had arrived at the door. And he asked Chandrasekhara to call in the man who was sitting there. He is a great Vaishnava, a great devotee of the Lord, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said. Chandrasekhara came out to see the man, but he saw no Vaishnava at the door. He saw only a man who appeared to be a Muslim mendicant. The Lord then asked to see the mendicant. And when Sanatana entered the courtyard, Lord Chaitanya hurriedly came out to receive him and embrace him. When the Lord embraced him, Sanatana became overwhelmed with spiritual ecstasy. And he said, my dear Lord, please do not touch me. But they embraced each other and began to cry. Seeing Sanatana and Lord Chaitanya acting thus, Chandrasekhara was struck with wonder. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then asked Sanatana Goswami to sit down with him on a bench. So this shows the loving reciprocation between the Lord and his pure devotees. Yeah. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then asked Sanatana Goswami. Where is it? Yeah. So Chandrasekhara came to okay. The Lord then asked the mendicant. The Lord embraced him. Sanatana became overwhelmed with spiritual ecstasy and he asked, my dear Lord, please do not touch me. but the enraged agent began to cry. Seeing Sanatana and Lord Chaitanya acting thus, Chandrasekhara was struck with wonder. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then asked Sanatana to sit down with him on a bench. The Lord was touching the body of Sanatana with his hand. And again, Sanatana asked him, "My dear Lord, please do not touch me. I am touching you just for my purification," the Lord replied. "For you are a great devotee. By your devotional service, you can deliver the whole universe and enable everyone to go back to Godhead." The Lord then quoted a nice verse from the Vedic literature, stating that a person who is a devotee of Lord Krishna is 100% engaged in devotional service, is far better than a Brahmana who is versed in the Vedic literatures, but who does not engage in the devotional service of the Lord. Because the devotee carries the Supreme Lord within his heart, he can purify every place and everything. Right? That is why it is said that the devotees of the Lord are as potent as the Lord. Even when we go to a spiritual place, we should not go simply to simply to take bath. Right? It is said, "Sa eva gokara." In Srimad Bhagavatam, it says, "Sa eva gokara." That means our consciousness will just be like that of a cow or an ass, because we are going to a sacred place like Vrindavan Dham, Mayapur Dham, Jagannath Puri Dham, but we are not taking association of devotees. Rather, we are simply taking bath in the various rivers and we are coming back. Of course, it's purifying to take bath or to dip ourselves in the Ganges, the Yamuna, right? It is very, very purifying, but that should not be our goal, right? Of course, we take a dip and then we purify ourselves, but then more purification, right? Even in Shankaracharya mentions it in Gita Mahatmya, right? If by seeing a Vaishnava itself, one can purify oneself. Otherwise, one has to take a dip in the Ganges. Only then one can purify oneself. But simply the sight of a Vaishnava, simply by having darshan of a Vaishnava, one gets automatically purified. Hence, the main purpose of going to a dham should be to hear the pastimes of the Lord, which has happened in those various places under the guidance of a bona fide devotee of the Lord. Because the devotee carries the Lord within his heart, the devotee is able to give Krishna to each and every person whom he is preaching to. That is why a Vaishnava, a Brahmana is said to be the highest of the four classes, right? We have the four social orders and the four spiritual orders. The Brahmana is said to be the highest amongst that. But Vaishnava is said to be even higher than a Brahmana. A Brahmana follows certain rituals, but a Vaishnava understands the purpose of the ritual. He understands the spirit of the ritual, and therefore he is said to be spiritual. Therefore, even higher than the Brahmana is a Vaishnava, like that. Okay, so now more about how do you recognize a devotee of the Lord, who is a Brahmana, who is a Vaishnava. So, Navkishori Mataji, you want to go ahead and read? The Vedic literature also states.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam. Yes.
Yes, Mataji. The Vedic literature also states that Supreme Personality of Godhead does not recognize a non-devotee who is very learned in all the divisions of Vedas, but he likes a devotee, even if he was born in a low family. If one offers charity to a Brahmana who is not a devotee, the Lord does not accept it. But if something is offered to a devotee, the Lord accepts. In other words, whatever a person wishes to offer, the Lord may be given to his devotee. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also quoted in Srimad Bhagavatam to the effect that even if a Brahmana was born in a high family and is qualified with the 12 Brahmanical qualities, he is lower than the lowest of the low if he is not a devotee of the
Supreme Lord. Cannot hear Mataji.
Srimad does not accept it, but if something is offered to a devotee, the Lord accept. In other word, whatever a person wishes to offer, the Lord may given to his devotee. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also quoted in Srimad Bhagavatam to the effect that even if a Brahmana was born in a high family and is qualified with the 12 Brahmanical qualities, he is lower than the lowest of the low if he is not a devotee of the Supreme Lord. Although a devotee may have been born in a Chandala, dog eater family, by devotional service, he can purify his whole family for 100 generations, past and future, whereas proud Brahmana cannot purify even himself. Lord Chaitanya then said to Sanatana, quoting the Hari Bhakti Shuddhodaya 13.2, Mataji, can you recite, please?
अक्ष्णो फलं त्वादृशदर्शनं हि धनो फलं त्वादृशगात्रसङ्गः जिह्वा फलं त्वादृशकीर्तनं हि सुदुर्लभा भागवता हि लोके.
Thank you, Mataji. O devotee of the Lord, to see you is the perfection of the eyes, to touch your body is the perfection of bodily activities, and to glorify your qualities is the perfection of the tongue. For it is very rare to find a pure devotee like you. Next, the Lord told Sanatana, Krishna is very merciful and is the deliverer of the fallen soul. He has he has saved you from Ravrava. Srimad Bhagavatam describes Maharavrava is as a hell meant for persons engaged in killing animals. For it is stated there that butchers and animal eaters go to that hell. I do not know the mercy of Krishna, Sanatana replied, but I can understand that your mercy upon me is causeless. You have delivered me from the entanglement of material life. Then the Lord asked, how did you get free from custody? I understand that you were arrested. Sanatana then narrated the whole story of his release. The Lord then informed him, I saw your two brothers, and advised them to proceed towards Vrindavana. Lord Chaitanya then introduced Chandrasekhara and Tapan Mishra to Sanatana, and Tapan Mishra pleasantly invited Sanatana to dine with him. The Lord requested Chandrasekhara to take Sanatana to a barber and make him gentle. For Sanatana had grown a long beard, which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not like. He asked Chandrasekhara to provide Sanatana only with a bath and clean shave, but with a change of clothes as well. After Sanatana had bathed, Chandrasekhara offered him some good clothes. When Lord Chaitanya was informed that Sanatana had not accepted the new garments, but later accepted only some used garment from Tapan Mishra, he was very glad. The Lord went to Tapan Mishra's house for lunch and asked him to keep food for Sanatana. Tapan Mishra did not offer Sanatana food immediately, however, but after the Lord had finished eating, there were some remnants of his food, and those remnants were offered to Sanatana while the Lord took his rest. After resting, Lord Chaitanya introduced a Maharashtrian Brahmana, a devotee of his, to Sanatana, and that Brahmana invited Sanatana to accept lunch daily at his place as long as he remained in Banaras. As long as I remain in Banaras, I will beg from door to door, Sanatana said, but the Lord will be so good as to accept his invitation for daily lunch at your house. Lord Chaitanya was very much pleased by this behavior of Sanatana's, but he noticed that the valuable blanket that had been given to him by his brother-in-law while Sanatana was en route to Banaras. Mm. Although Lord Chaitanya did not say anything about the blanket, Sanatana understood that he did not approve of such a valuable garment on his body, and therefore Sanatana decided to get rid of it. He immediately went to the bank of the Ganges, and there he saw a mendicant washing an old quilt. When Sanatana asked him to trade the old quilt for the valuable blanket, the poor mendicant thought that Sanatana was joking with him. How is this? The mendicant replied, you appear to be a very nice gentleman, but you are mocking me in this unmannerly way. I am not joking with you, Sanatana informed him. I am very serious. Will you kindly exchange your torn quilt for this blanket? Finally, the mendicant exchanged the torn quilt for the blanket, and Sanatana returned to the Lord. Where is your valuable blanket? The Lord immediately inquired. Sanatana informed him about the exchange, and the Lord loved him for this and thanked him. You are intelligent enough, and you have now exhausted all your attraction for material wealth. In other words, the Lord accepts a person for devotional service only when he is completely free from all material possessions. The Lord then told Sanatana, it would not look good for you to be a mendicant and beg from door to door with such a valuable blanket on your body. It is contradictory, and people would look on it with Mataji, what is this?
Abhorrence. Abhorrence means, people will criticize you. When you go begging and you are wearing a very costly blanket, then, people will say, hey, what is this? It's not, his attire is not going well with what he's doing. Like that. Yeah.
Yes, Mataji. Thank you. Should I carry on, Mataji?
You can read the next line. After that, we can discuss this. Whatever
Okay,
I'm
Mataji.
doing.
Whatever I am doing to become free from material attachment, it your mercy. Sanatana replied. The Lord was very much pleased with him, and they discussed spiritual advancement. Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna.
Mataji.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Mataji. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Dandavat pranam. So here a very wonderful narration is given of how a person should not be attached to anything material. Right? If you are attached to something material, then what happens? Then that becomes an obstacle to progress on the path of devotional service. Right? So in this case, of course, Sanatana Goswami was not attached to that blanket. It was only that it was given to him by his brother-in-law. So he was just wearing it. But when he knew that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was not liking it, immediately he wanted to give it away. So neither was he, neither was he disliking the blanket, nor was he liking the blanket. It is not that, oh, why is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asking you to give away this blanket? He did not have any feelings. Nor was he thinking, oh, let me just throw it somewhere. Right? I don't need a blanket. I'm going to renounce everything. No, he was not fanatic in either ways. Right? He knew that he had to satisfy his spiritual master. He knew he had to satisfy his guru, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not like the blanket, immediately exchanged or traded it. He would not have liked it. That Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would not have liked that, some resource of the Lord is just thrown away, right, for no use. He found a right person who was in need of that blanket and he traded it with that person. That person does you proper utility for the blanket also. At the same time, he gets what he should be getting, right? What will please Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? What kind of a blanket if I have? Will it please Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? In that way, he took that particular blanket like that. So it is very important to please our spiritual masters, right? No need to artificially renounce anything that is, a nice blanket. From this, the moral of the story is not that we reject all costly items or blankets. It's not the moral. The moral of the story is, the moral of this pastime is that we should at all times be ready to follow the instructions of our spiritual master. If our spiritual master tells this is not required for you, give it up, then we have to give it up immediately, irrespective of whether we like it or not. Right? That is what is meant by detachment. Right? They are neither attached or detached from anything. We use everything in Krishna's service. But if we are specifically instructed to give up something, we should be happy to give it up. Right? There's an example of how Lord Ram himself said this. Lord Ram was supposed to become the king of Ayodhya, right? But when his father, spiritual master, right, he told him tomorrow was supposed to be his coronation as the king, and today, the Dasharath Maharaj calls and tells him, you're not going to become the king tomorrow. Rather, you have to go to the forest for 14 years. Lord Ram does not say, hey, what is this? You just told me about a week back, I'm going to become the king. You did, you gave me you crowned me as Yuvraj, etc. But then now you're asking me to go to the forest. No, the Lord himself agreed to the instruction of his father. Right? The father only crowned him. The father only later on told him that you're not going to become the king. You're going to go to the forest. So Lord Ram as a personality, that's why he's called Maryada Purushottam. How we are supposed to live in this world, we need to learn from those personalities, right? Who have appeared for that purpose. Right? We don't imitate Krishna because Krishna did not appear for the purpose. Krishna appeared to show his supremacy. Krishna appeared to show that he is the supreme personality of God and he will break all rules. And that is what a supreme Lord is supposed to do. I'm not supposed to follow any rules because I am the maker of the rules. That was Krishna's mood. You surrender to me, I will reward you accordingly. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mood was not that. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mood, Krishna himself, right? Ram is also Krishna himself. But when he came in the mode of Lord Ram, he wanted to set an example. That's why, it is said that, a king should be above all suspicion, right? That's why he even, allowed his own wife to go to the Valmiki ashram, right? All this he did because, a leader should be above all suspicions, right? Only then people will have the conviction to follow the leader's footsteps, right? So each of the avatars and each of the activities of the Lord have a specific purpose. So we have to understand the moral of that particular Leela and follow it, and not take it as a generic rule that, oh, we should not accept costly blankets, oh, we should not accept any costly gifts. No, that's not the point. Whatever we can utilize in the service of Krishna, we accept it wholeheartedly. But if you are specifically instructed to not do certain things, because our guru knows that we are likely, maybe we'll become attached to it. Maybe it will hamper our progress in devotional service. That is why the guru may say that don't accept it, don't do this particular seva. Like that, when the guru tells, then we have to completely accept the guru's order and then move ahead accordingly. That's what Sanatana Goswami did here. He did not reject the blanket in the first place. He accepted the blanket, right? And he was just using it for the purpose of covering his body. But then when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not like it, he was not attached to it. He immediately gave it up. So this is the level of attachment or detachment that a devotee has to have for materialistic things, and one has to be completely attached to following the instructions of one's guru. Okay, let's move forward. Okay, so where should we start from? We should, yeah. So, and also Sanatana Goswami is not taking credit for his detachment also. He is not saying, oh, I'm so great. Whatever I had, just because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not like it, I have given it up. No, he was not having, because if that humility is there, like we were talking the other day about somebody following Nirjala Ekadashi and is thinking, I am following Nirjala Ekadashi, the temple president only is having Ekadashi Prasadam. So, I am better. I'm a higher devotee, right? And Radhanath Maharaj was saying, better you have your Ekadashi Prasadam and make yourself feel humble, rather than grow two horns that I am a great devotee, right? We are fasting our stomach, but we are feasting our false ego and does not serve the purpose, right? If we rather become humble by having Ekadashi Prasadam, we should rather do that, right? So here also Sanatana Goswami is saying, I am able to exercise this kind of material detachment only because of your mercy, right? We are all able to follow austerities only because of the Lord's mercy. We are able to move, we are able to talk, we are able to walk, we are able to eat, we are able to give up eating, all by the mercy of the Lord, right? If not for the mercy of the Lord, we cannot do anything. We are not even sure if we'll wake up tomorrow morning, isn't it? It is only with the mercy of the Lord that we are even waking up the next day. So in this way, we have to be grateful to the Lord for everything that we do, and every austerity we are able to perform, because it is only happening by the mercy of the Lord. Nothing is happening because of our own endeavor, right? Because we are only one-fifth of the doer, right? One-fifth doer means what is our portion? Our only portion is to desire. If we desire to serve the Lord, Krishna will give us opportunity, Krishna will give us resources, Krishna has given us this body, everything Krishna has given. So what we from our own, what we can give? Our desire to serve the Lord, our desire to offer bhoga to the Lord, and then honor Krishna Prasadam. So that is our only what do you call, portion of the complete activity. Otherwise, the activity is done by the sanction of the Lord and is executed by Prakriti. As Jiva, we only desire. Okay, Sudha Mataji, you can go ahead. Previous to this meeting, from there.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Pranam.
Pranam Mataji.
Previous to this meeting between Lord Chaitanya and Sanatana Goswami, the Lord had met a householder devotee named Ramananda Rai. At that meeting, which is discussed in a later chapter, Lord Chaitanya asked Ramananda Rai questions and Ramananda replied as if he were the Lord's teacher. However, in this case, Sanatana put questions to the Lord and the Lord answered them. The instructions of Lord Chaitanya to Sanatana Goswami are very important for people in general. The Lord taught him the process of devotional service, which is the constitutional occupation of every living entity. Because this is so, it is every man's duty to advance in spiritual science. Many subjects were thoroughly discussed in the talks between Lord Chaitanya and Sanatana Goswami. Due to the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, Sanatana was able to put important questions before him, and these questions were replied to properly. The meeting of Sanatana Goswami and Lord Chaitanya teaches us that to understand spiritual subject matters, one must approach a spiritual master like Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and make submissive inquiries. This is confirmed in the instructions of the Bhagavad Gita 4.34, where Lord Krishna says that one should approach a man of authority and learn the spiritual science from him. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. So this is what is Krishna's instruction in the 4th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Tadvidi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshinaha. Unless we approach a bona fide spiritual master, we will not learn the right lessons, right? Otherwise, we may engage in some kind of mental speculation. Oh, this is what I need to understand. And that may not be the right way of understanding. That is why we always confirm our understanding on the basis of Guru, Shastra, and Sadhu. Right? Now we move on to the teachings of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Sanatana Goswami. Very interesting chapter. From the instructions of Lord Chaitanya to Sanatana Goswami, we can understand the signs of God as it relates to God's transcendental form, his opulences, and his devotional service. Indeed, everything will be explained to Sanatana Goswami by the Lord himself. So basically, these are the three things of Sambandha, Abhideya, and Prayojana. Sambandha is to know what is my relationship with the Lord. Abhideya means to engage in the process of devotional service. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atma Nivedanam. And Prayojana is Krishna Prema. What is the ultimate result of doing the spiritual activities like that? First, Sanatana fell at the feet of the Lord and with great humility asked about his own real identity. So what is this? Sambandha. He's asking, who am I? Right? What am I supposed to do? I was born in a lower family, Sanatana said. My associations are all abominable and I'm fallen, the most wretched of mankind. I was suffering in the dark well of material enjoyment and I have never learned the actual goal of my life. Indeed, I do not even know what is beneficial for me. Although in the mundane sphere, I am what is known as a greatly learned man. I am in fact such a fool that I also think that I am learned. You've accepted me as your servant and you've delivered me from the entanglement of material life. Now, please tell me what my duty is in this liberated state. From this plea, we can understand that liberation is not the final word in perfection. There must be activities in liberation. Sanatana Goswami clearly says, you have saved me from the entanglement of material existence. Now, after liberation, what is my duty? Kindly explain it to me. Sanatana further inquired, who am I? Why are the threefold miseries always giving me trouble? And finally, please tell me, how can I be relieved from this material entanglement? I do not know how to question you about advancement in spiritual life, but I beg that you kindly, mercifully let me know everything I should know. This is the process of accepting a spiritual master. One should approach a spiritual master, humbly submit to him, and then inquire from him about one's spiritual progress. The Lord was pleased by Sanatana's submissive behavior and he replied, you have already been blessed by Lord Krishna and therefore you know everything and are free from all the miseries of material existence. Yet, even though due to your Krishna consciousness, you have naturally achieved the grace of Krishna and are thus already conversant with everything. Because you are a humble devotee, you are asking me to confirm what you have already realized. This is very nice. These are the characteristics of a true devotee. In the Naradiya Purana, it is said that by the grace of the Lord, one who is very serious about developing Krishna consciousness has his desire to understand Krishna fulfilled very soon. Right? Brahmande Brahmite Kono Bhagyamana Jiva Guru Krishna Prasadi Paya Bhakti Lata Bija. How much of desire we have to understand who's the Lord, what is my duty towards the Lord, what should be my consciousness as I perform devotional service. To the extent we want to understand all these transcendental subject matters, the Lord by his own mercy will direct us to a Guru who will guide us in all these subject matters. Because we cannot understand all these subject matters simply by mental concoction, mental speculation, by our own assumptions, etc. Right? Even Duryodhana did not understand even after he was also in the battlefield, right? He also, in fact, Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, went and told him, just give 5 villages to the Pandavas. You don't have to give them the entire kingdom. Just give 5 villages. And this is an instruction directly from the Lord. But Duryodhana could not understand that, right? That is why it is said, Krishna himself tells, right? Yoga Maya Samavrata, right? What is that? Nama Dushkritano Muda Prapadyante Naradama. Right? People who are Dushkritana, Mudha, foolish people, Naradama, lowest among mankind. Right? Those kind of people can never surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So even to surrender to the Lord, there has to be some faith. There has to be some natural good qualities that we have acquired through our previous Sukriti. Only then we will become humble. Only then we will submit ourselves to a spiritual master and learn the science of transcendental understanding. Right? One who has this desire in himself, he's already realized, right? Because he's approached the right person, right? Like the other day we were giving the example of how a person is standing in line to wash his hands, right? The hands are dirty right now. Our consciousness is not very clean, but we are still in the line, right? As we continue chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, we continue the process of Shravanam and Kirtanam. It is just a question of time when all the good qualities will manifest in us. And then there is no place in our heart for lust, anger, greed, pride, envy, and illusion, right? All this will happen only when we attract the mercy of the Lord. It will not happen by our own endeavor, right? Atha Shri Krishna Namadi na bhaved graham indriyahi. Sevon mukehi jibbadav swayameva suratyadaha. So why are we repeating the same thing again and again, right? We are repeating the same thing because we should understand that I am completely dependent on the mercy of the Lord. Not even a blade of grass moves without the permission of the Lord. When I achieve something, I have been made an instrument by the Lord's mercy to deliver that particular message. When I render any kind of seva, I should understand that I'm just an instrument. That is why we were mentioning in the other class also, right? It does not really matter how successful we are in our activities. That is simply a detail, but we are already successful if we have approached the seva with the right mood. That it is my duty. I'm doing this for the pleasure of Guru and Gauranga, not for my sense gratification. But even if you're doing it for our sense gratification, even if that project becomes a mega hit, like you were discussing in the morning, right? That it is not in the seva, it is not in the glory of doing a particular thing that is going to give bliss in the heart, right? The humility has to be developed, and one should understand that one is simply a nimitta matra, simply an instrument, and that acknowledgement gives bliss to the heart. Because when we realize, mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim, a dumb person can also speak eloquently. A crippled person also can cross mountains if he has the mercy of Guru and Gauranga. So if you've been able to do something, you should feel grateful to the Lord. You should be grateful to our gurus that they have empowered us so that we can do some kind of seva on their behalf, isn't it? So we were just discussing, we had some class on Ramayana because Ramayana is coming up now. So the most important seva was done by Shatrughna, because Shatrughna was assisting Bharata, right? Bharata was ruling the world on behalf of Lord Ram. He kept the sandals of Lord Ram in the throne, and he was acting on behalf of Lord Ram. Whereas Shatrughna, he always served Bharat. Shatrughna served the devotee of the Lord, right? Whereas Lakshmana directly served Lord Ram, right? So Rama represents Dharma. That is, Ram appeared to establish the Dharma Samstapaka, right? Lakshmana is Lakshmi Sampanna Lakshmana. That means all the samarthya, all the resources that is required to establish Dharma, that is brought by Lakshmana. That's why he's called Lakshmi Sampanna. All, because even to even do a program in a particular place, we need money, we need resources, we need people to work, to decorate the place, etc. So those resources are provided by Lakshmana, who is the spiritual master. He is not different from Balaram, he is not different from Guru, right? And Bharat represents moksha, right? What is the mission of the Lord? To deliver everybody from this conditioned life of material existence. And Bharata represents moksha, where he acts on behalf of the Lord, so that everybody can get over this ocean of material nescience. And then Shatrughna, what does he represent? Shatrughna refers to serving a devotee of the Lord. Gopi Bhartu Padakamalyor Dasa 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 Anu Dasa. That is why the role of Shatrughna is very, very he does not his name is Shatrughna, right? He actually defeated only one asura, one demon, one Shatru, who is Lavanasura, who is also not very powerful demon, right? It's not very much known that Shatrughna killed many. So why is he named Shatrughna? Because he actually destroyed the greatest enemy. What is the greatest enemy of a living entity? Is his false ego. Thinking that, I am the controller, I am the doer. That is the greatest enemy of a person. So he controlled that. He destroyed that enemy. That is why his name is Shatrughna. That means one who destroyed his enemy, right? Only when one's false ego is destroyed, one is able to serve the servant of the Lord. And we also saw in the pastime of Kanchipurna and Varadaraj Perumal how the Lord also said, if you are claiming to be my devotee, then you are not actually my devotee. But if you are the devotee of my devotee, then you are actually my devotee. This is what Kanchipurna was told by Varadaraj Perumal himself. Right? You also see in the role of Shatrughna how he always assisted Bharat. Right? He never directly jumped up and wanted to serve Lord Ram. Right? He always allowed Lakshmana to serve the Lord, and Bharata was serving in separation on behalf of the Lord as the king. and Shatrughna was always serving Bharat, like that. So that is the proper position, right? We have to only when we approach a bona fide spiritual master, we'll have the humility to understand the tattva as it is, and we can put that into our practice. Otherwise, if we don't understand the proper tattva, then we may be performing chanting, we may be performing service, but if we don't perform with the right consciousness, then of course purification will happen because the process itself is pure, but it may take many lifetimes. But if we want to perfect our life in this lifetime, then we need to approach a bona fide spiritual master, understand the way, the method. Today, Shobha Mataji, I guess, so she had shared Amoglila Prabhu's Japa talk in the Tamil Gita group. So he was saying, method, morality, and what is that? Method, mood, and the bhava. I don't know, mellow. Yeah, method, mood, and mellow. That's what he was saying. Amoglila Prabhu was saying. So we have the method, we have the chanting Hare Krishna mantra, but mood is very important. What is the mood? In the mood of humility, then automatically the Lord, by His own mercy, will bestow the mellows. Right? We have no control over the mellows, isn't it? Whether I should develop the Krishna prema and the bhava, right? All that has to be given by the mercy of the Lord only. We will not be able to attain it. But two things we can do. What is that? Follow the right method, sitting in a proper posture, chanting with a proper prayerful mood, and hearing, chanting the Mahamantra proper pronunciation. We follow the right method, and we have the right mood in the Gopi Bhartupada Kamali or Dasa Dasa Dasanu Dasa. Right? So what is my role? I inquire from the spiritual master, and then I mold my life in such a way that is pleasing to Guru and Gauranga. That is a method and mood. And then finally, the mellow that is required, which is the bhava to serve the Lord. That is actually given by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna himself. Right? So these are the three things. We endeavor for certain things, and then our endeavor is only to please the Lord. Our endeavor cannot get success for us. We should be very clear. Our endeavor cannot guarantee success for us, right? That means every student who studies for an exam, right? Everybody tries their best, right? But not everybody gets the first rank, right? A person who gets the first rank is entitled to get because of his past karmic results, and he's pleased the Lord in some way. That is why he is getting what he's getting, right? So similarly, all of us are doing our best, but it is the prerogative of the Lord to give mercy to whom to give how much mercy, right? That is why he tells the Brahmana that you will come back after many lifetimes. He tells the cobbler you will come back at the end of this lifetime itself. Later on, Narada Muni understood because the Brahmana did not even have faith in the Lord, although he was doing so many rituals. Whereas the cobbler, although he was engaged in, then stitching the chappal, right? He had complete faith in the Lord, that the Lord could put an elephant into the eye of a needle. The Brahmana was saying, hey, you didn't even go to the spiritual world. How can anyone put an elephant into the eye of a needle? But our cobbler, when Narada Muni asked him, how do you believe it? How can anybody put an elephant into the eye of the needle? And then this cobbler is saying, totally uneducated, totally, it's not that he studied the scriptures, but Krishna gives the intelligence, right? When Krishna wants us to understand something, Krishna will make us understand, right? Like the Brahmana who had the Bhagavad Gita upside down. He understood the entire Bhagavad Gita, right? If Krishna is driving the chariot for his devotee, that is making my tears flow down from my eyes. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, you have understood the Bhagavad Gita. None of these scholars have understood. You have understood the Bhagavad Gita, right? And the cobbler is telling that if a great banyan tree can be inside the small seed, the great banyan trees come out of the seed, then what is difficult for the Lord to put an elephant into the eye of a needle? And Narada Muni said, yes, he is speaking out of realization, right? Whereas the Brahmana is performing rituals day in and day out, right? So we should also introspect, how much of faith am I having in the Lord? How much of surrender am I having, at the Lord's lotus feet as I'm practicing devotional service? To the extent of our surrender, to the extent of our surrender, to the extent of our faith, we will get realizations. We will get pure devotional service. Okay, anyone else wants to read? It is a duty of a disciple, 1247. Yeah, we have another 15 minutes. We can try and complete this chapter also, I guess. Okay, Rohini Mataji, go ahead. It is the duty of a disciple.
Pranam Mataji, am I audible?
Yes, go ahead.
It is the duty of a disciple to inquire about the constitutional position when approaching a spiritual master. In conformity to that spiritual process, Sanatana had already asked, what am I and why am I suffering from the threefold miseries? The threefold miseries are called Adhyatmika, Adi Bhautika, and Adi Daivika. The word Adhyatmika refers to those miseries caused by the body and the mind. Sometimes the living entity suffers physically and sometimes he is distressed mentally. Both are Adhyatmika miseries. We experience these miseries even in the womb of our mother. In general, there are many types of miseries that take advantage of the delicate human body and give us pain. Miseries inflicted by other living entities are called Adi Bhautika. For example, bed bugs can make us miserable while we are sleeping. Cockroaches can also sometimes give us pain, and there are other living entities born on different planets who can cause us misery. As far as the Adi Daivika miseries are concerned, they originate with the demigods of the higher planets. For instance, we sometimes suffer from severe cold weather, from thunderbolts, or from earthquakes, tornadoes, droughts, and other natural disasters. In any case, we are always suffering from one or more of these three kinds of miseries. Sanatana's inquiry was therefore an intelligent one. What is the position of the living entities? He asked. Why are they always undergoing these three kinds of miseries? Sanatana had admitted his weakness. Although he was known by the masses of the people as a greatly learned man, and he actually was a highly learned Sanskrit scholar, and although he accepted his designation, he did not know what his constitutional position was or why he was subjected to the threefold miseries. Approaching a spiritual master is not just a fashion, but it is a necessity for one who is seriously conscious of the material miseries and who wants to be free of them. It is the duty of such a person to approach a spiritual master. In this regard, we should note Arjuna's similar circumstances in the Bhagavad Gita. When he was perplexed by so many problems involving whether to fight or not, he accepted Lord Krishna as his spiritual master. As with Lord Chaitanya's instructing Sanatana Goswami, the Bhagavad Gita is also a case of the spiritual master, supreme spiritual master, instructing his disciple about the constitutional position of the living entity. Shall I continue, Mataji?
Yeah, go ahead. So, okay, let me just quickly, and you can read further. So, we already saw this in great detail, even in Bhagavad Gita, the three kinds of miseries: Adhyatmika, Adi Bhautika, and Adi Daivika. Adhyatmika means the miseries that are inflicted upon ourselves by ourselves. That means my body and mind, I am unnecessarily thinking what will happen to the future. Will I retain my job? Will I get my salary? Will I get promotion? Right? All of these things are inflicted upon us. The fear of the future, the fear of uncertainty, etc. They inflicted upon us by ourselves, right? That is called Adhyatmik. Adhibhautik means other living entities cause pain to us. It could be our relatives, it could be our children, it could be cockroach, it could be mosquito, right? All of these living entities around us also cause trouble to us, right? And then of course Adi Daivik, we have very wonderful example now of COVID, right? We were forced to sit in the within the four walls of our home, right? Even though we wanted to go out, we could not go out, right? So and famines, floods, fire, etc. They are all Adi Daivik, for which we have no control, right? So when we are suffering from all these three, right? An intelligent person will always ask the question: why am I suffering like this in this material world? Right? Sometimes the great souls like Sanatana Goswami, Arjuna, etc., they ask questions on behalf of all of us conditioned living entities. Right? So sometimes even in the Bhagavatam class, right, some senior devotee might ask a question. It might look like, oh my God, such a senior devotee is asking such a basic question. Right? Sometimes I've seen His Grace Radhesham Prabhu ask a very, very basic question to the speaker of the Bhagavatam class. Does that mean Prabhu does not know the answer? He would have given thousands of classes on that particular topic. Right? But when a person is sitting on the Vyasasana, when a person is giving a class, that person is respected as much as Vyasadeva. That is why one actually likes to hear about that particular topic from that person, because that person is representative of Vyasadeva. So that is why when a query is asked, does not mean that the person who is asking does not know the answer. It only means that for the benefit of all the people who are there in that particular class, this question is being asked so as to reinstate the understanding of what was discussed in the particular class. Right? So that means that one has to surrender to that position of Vyasadeva. That means a person may be a great devotee. Right? We can see that in Radhesham Prabhu's attitude also. Right? When he's, sometimes a brahmachari who is trained under him also gives a class, and Prabhu asks a question at the end of the class. Right? It is not to challenge that Prabhu, right? No, that's not the mood. The mood is to understand more from the speaker about the topic in hand, not necessarily for oneself, but also for the benefit of everybody else who's attending that particular class, right? So similarly, when Arjuna is asking a question or Sanatana Goswami is asking a question, why am I suffering? Why all this is happening to me? What I should do? I'm confused about my duties. Why are there so many problems, etc.? Then it means that the Supreme Spiritual Master, who's Krishna or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as the case may be, is instructing Sanatana Goswami or Arjuna so that the mass common people can also understand what has to be done in certain circumstances like that. All right, so let's move ahead. Okay, who wants to read? Okay, if nobody else wants to read, Rohini Mataji, you want to continue?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay, go ahead. In the Bhagavad Gita, we are informed.
In the Bhagavad Gita, we are informed that the constitutional nature of the individual entity is spirit soul. He is not matter. As spirit soul, he is part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, the Absolute Truth, the personality of Godhead. We also learn that it is the duty of the spirit soul to surrender to the Supreme Soul, for only then can he be happy. The last instruction of the Bhagavad Gita is that spirit soul should surrender completely unto the Supreme Soul, Krishna, and in that way realize happiness. Here
Yeah,
also,
thank you, Mataji. So, Sarvadharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Vraja Aham Tvam Sarva Papebhyo Mokshayishyami Ma Shuchaha. Right? So, Krishna is telling, don't worry. Right? This material place is Dukhalayam and Ashashvatam. Things are going to be bad. Right? That means it's a place of misery and it's also temporary. Things are going to have problems. You are going to feel anxiety. But if you surrender to me, to the extent you will surrender to me, you will not have anxiety in your life. Right? Okay, so let's request our Moshmi Mataji. Go ahead. Here also Lord Chaitanya answered the questions of Sanatana.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam Mataji. Yes.
Here also Lord Chaitanya answering the question of Sanatana reports the same truth.
Repeats.
Repeats the same truth. There is a difference, however, here Lord Chaitanya does not give the information about the spirit soul that is already described in the Bhagavad Gita. Rather, he begins from the point of where Krishna ended his instruction. It is accepted by great devotee that Lord Chaitanya is Krishna himself, and as such, he begins his instruction to Sanatan from the point where he ended his instruction to Arjun in the Gita. Your constitutional position is that you are pure living soul. The Lord told Sanatana, your material body is not your real self, nor is your mind your real identity, nor your intelligence, nor your false ego. Your identity is that of an eternal survivor of the
Servitor.
eternal
Eternal servitor.
Savior of the Supreme Lord Krishna. Your position is that you are transcendental. The superior energy of Krishna is spiritual in constitution, and the inferior external energy is material. Since you are between the material energy and the spiritual energy, your position is marginal. Belonging to the marginal potency of Krishna, you are simultaneously one with and difference from him. Because you are the spirit, you are not different from Krishna, but because you are only a
Minute particle.
particle of Krishna, You are different from him.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. So
Hare
here,
Krishna.
Achintya Veda Veda Tattva is being described. That is, we are equal to the Lord in quality. That means we are also Sat, we are also Chit, we are also Ananda. But the Lord is infinitely Sat, Chit, Ananda. We are infinitesimally Sat, Chit, Ananda. Right? So that's what is described. And one more thing is, whatever Krishna ended, generally Bhagavad Gita ends and Bhagavatam begins from there. Dharma approach the Kaita Votra Paramo, Nirmat Saranam Satam. Give up the Kaitava Dharma and surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So similarly, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's instructions also do not start from Dehinosmin Yatha Dehe. That is preliminary basic level. So here he is talking about what is the dharma of a living entity. Right? So the first Guhya Gyan of, I am not this body, I am a spirit soul, all that one is already understood before one actually reaches this platform. Right? So this is how it is explained here. And of course, he is explaining the superior energy of the Lord, inferior energy of the Lord, and we are Tatastha energy of the Lord. That means we are part of the marginal energy of the Lord. This simultaneous oneness and difference. Anjana Mataji, go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, Dandavat
Hare
Pranam.
Krishna. Dandavat Pranam, Mataji. Yes.
This simultaneously oneness and difference always exist in the relationship between the living entities and the Supreme Lord. From the fact that the living entities are always in the marginal position, this conception of simultaneously one and different can be understood. The living entity is just like a particle of sunshine, whereas Krishna is like the blazing sun itself. Lord Chaitanya also compared the living entities to spark in a fire and the Hare Krishna.
Supreme
And
Lord.
the Supreme Lord to a blazing fire itself in the connection of the Lord cited a verse from the Vishnu Purana 1.22.53. Ekadesha sthitya
Sitasya Agni Jyotsna Vistarini Atha Parasya Brahmana Shakti Stadedam Akilam Jagat.
Okay.
Everything
Everything
manifested.
manifested within this cosmic world is but the energy of the Supreme Lord, as fire situated in one place spread the illumination and heat all around. So the Lord, although situated in one place in the spiritual world, manifests his different energies everywhere. Indeed, the whole cosmic creation is but a manifestation of his various energies. Lord Chaitanya continued citing the Vishnu Purana 6.7.61. The Supreme Lord's original energy is transcendental and spiritual, and the living entities are part and parcel of the energy. There is a third energy, however, called the material energy, which is covered by the cloud of ignorance. This energy, which is material nature, is divided into three modes of or gunas: goodness, passion, and ignorance. Lord Chaitanya then quoted another verse from Vishnu Puran 1.3.2 to the effect that all inconceivable energies resides in the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and that the whole cosmic manifestation act due to those energies. The
Thank you,
Lord
Mataji.
also.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. So, Daivi Hayesha Gunamayi, Mama Maya, Duratyaya, Mami Vaye Prapadyante, Maya Metam Tarantite. So, Daivi Hayesha Gunamayi. Here we are talking about the Daivi Shakti of the Lord, wherein the Lord is referring to the material energy, Maya Devi. Very difficult to cross over Maya Devi or material energy of the Lord. But Mameva Ye Prapadyante, one who surrenders unto me, what will happen? Is able to immediately cross over the ocean of material existence. When one crosses over the ocean of material existence, one comes under the energy of Yoga Maya, or one comes under the energy of the spiritual energy of the Lord, like that. So, there where one is continuously engaged in serving the Lord, where one is transcendental to three modes of material nature. One understands one's spiritual and transcendental nature, and in that way, always serves the Lord for His pleasure. Right? In this world, what do? We try to work for the Lord, and we try to give the results of the work to our Lord, but we are not able to do 24 hours bhakti yoga. We do 3-4 hours of bhakti yoga, right? Completely exclusive chanting, reading Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, etc. But other things, what do? We do for our maintenance of our body also, certain activities. We go to office, we earn money. Of course, we dovetail that in the service of the Lord by giving a percentage of our salary to the Lord. The money is also purified when we decorate the deities. We buy nice clothes for the deities. We buy boga provisions, etc. We cook for the Lord. All that is karma yoga. That means we're utilizing everything in the service of the Lord. But but what is the moral of this? One should understand in which energy one is operating under, right? One operating under the platform of sense gratification, or one is operating under the platform of seva, right? That's what it is. All right. So now, Kishori Mataji, let's read the last 3 paragraphs and we'll end this chapter today. Chalo. The Lord also said that. Oh, sorry. Yeah, you need to unmute yourself, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you. Dandavat
Hare
Pranam
Krishna.
Mataji.
Yes, Mataji.
The Lord also said that the living entity is known as the Kshetragna, or the lower
We are
of
in the
the
13th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Yeah. So this is the second chapter of teachings of Lord Chaitanya, but we're already touching the 13th chapter. So these are some things that we should already know. Since we've already studied Bhagavad Gita and we studied about 15 books, Srila Prabhupada has actually elaborated it in so many of his books. So it is not new to us, although we have not completed the study of Bhagavad Gita, although some of us may have. But even in the course of that, we are not new to this concept, because Prabhupada has explained it in so many of his books. Yes, Mataji, go ahead.
Yes, Mataji. Kshetragna, or the knower of the field of activities. This is confirmed in the 13th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna describes the body as the field of the activities and the living entity as the Kshetragna, the knower of that field. Although the living entity is constitutionally conversant with the spiritual energy, or has the potency to understand it, he is covered by the material energy and consequently believes himself to be the body. This false identification is called false ego. Deluded by the false ego, the bewildered living entity in material existence passes through different bodies and suffers various kind of miseries. Knowledge of the living entities true position is possessed to different extents by the different types of living entities. In other words, it is to be understood that the living entity is a part and parcel of the spiritual energy of the Supreme Lord. Because the material energy is inferior, man has the ability to get free from the covering of this material energy and utilize the spiritual energy. It is stated in the Bhagavad Gita that in the conditions states that conditions state the superior energy, the living entity is covered by the inferior energy. Due to this covering, the living entity is subjected to the miseries of the material world, and the proportion to how much he is covered, he suffers material miseries. Those who are a little enlightened suffer less, but on the whole, everyone is subjected to the material miseries due to being covered by the material energy. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also quoted from the 7th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, in which it is stated that the earth, water, fire, air, ether, and mind, intelligence, and false ego all combined to form the inferior energy of the Supreme Lord. But the superior energy is the real identity of the living being, and it is because of that energy that the whole material world functions. The cosmic manifestation, which is made of the material elements, has no power to act unless it is moved by the superior energy. The living entity, the conditions, the life of the living entity is due to forgetfulness of his relationship with the Supreme Lord in the superior energy. When that relationship is forgotten, conditioned life is the result. Only when a man revives his real identity as the eternal servitor to the Lord does he become liberated. Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you. Dandavat Pranam Mataji.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. Yeah. So, Jivera Swarupa Hoye, Krishnera Nityadas. Right? That is what is established here. So, we are servants of the Lord. So, we have to serve the Lord in a way that is pleasing to the Lord. Right? We should not do seva to please ourselves. Right? Although Susugam Kartum Avyam is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, but we should be very clear why we are doing seva. Right? We are doing seva because it pleases Guru and Gauranga. And that is why Sanatana Goswami could immediately discard something which the Lord did not like. because we are not attached to a particular way. We do what is considered, what we think is the best. But when we are guided by our spiritual master, we should be able to immediately adopt that path and give up our own mental speculative ways. In that way, when we are detached, then we can perform seva in a way that is pleasing to Guru and Gauranga. So in this way, we complete our second chapter of teaching about Chaitanya. And tomorrow we will start with the chapter number 4, actually, the wise man. So second chapter was meeting with Sanatana Goswami. The third chapter was teaching to Sanatana Goswami. Now, the fourth chapter is the wise man. Very, very interesting. Right? Talking about the 4 directions. Right? We have to avoid it. Very careful. Right? What path we choose in our life. Right? Because it's the devotional life is said to be a double-edged sword. Right? Little bit of this thing also we may fall down. Right? So you have to be very careful in treading this path because it's a very simple path. Prabhupada says it is simple for the simple, but it is complicated for the complicated people. For us who have complicated our lives with so many things, even the simplest of the process has become difficult, right? High living and simple thinking, simple living and high thinking, rather. Right? We have to think high and then live a simple life. That is what is prescribed. The more we complicate our lives with so many luxuries, want this, right? I'm not speaking out of realization. I'm also trying to endeavor in this path. Right? So much we try to accumulate, we complicate our lives. Right? The minimalistic life is simple life. Right? Of course, you have to take into consideration what is required for our advancement in devotional service. Right? Everything that is favorable, we have to accept. Everything that's not favorable, we have to reject. That much intelligence, we need to pray to the Lord that we get those intelligence and we apply that and transform our lives in service of Guru and Gauranga. So I request devotees to switch on your cameras. We have 16 participants today. So let's quickly do Harinam Sankirtan and then we'll see who all are there. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Vimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nami Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nevishesha Punyavadi Astavyadichatarine Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Radharara Srivasa Gauravakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Gauranitai Jaya Jaya Raghunath Baladev Subhadra Jaya Jaya Sudarshan Jaya Balagopal Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Gurudev Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद श्रील गुरुदेव की जय अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय सामित भक्त वृंद की जय वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय निताई गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल Hare Krishna. So thank you all, Rohini Mataji, Moshmi Mataji, Shobha Mataji, Anjana Mataji, Harjeet Mataji, Karpagavalli Mataji, Nilanjani Mataji, Sudha Mataji, Tony Mala Mataji, Nav Kishori Mataji. Okay, all of our regular participants are there. Thank you so much for joining in every day. It's very wonderful to be studying Bhagavad Gita and teachings of Lord Chaitanya in association. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Gurudev ki jai. Anand Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Nitai God Premanande. Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. So anyone has any queries or questions? Manasi Mataji, is it, you have a question or is it for reading? Okay, I'm not sure if Mataji can hear me. All right, so, okay, so thank you very much. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Gurudeva ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Nitai God Premanande Hari Hari Bol. So we'll meet tomorrow morning, 5 o'clock. Oh, question. Okay, fine. Let me, okay, everyone can unmute themselves now. Yes, Mansi Mataji, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Mataji, I
Hare-
wanted to ask about this Maharashtrian Brahman. So, what was the name of this Maharashtrian Brahman who had?
I think Sanodia or something like that. It will come in the later part of the book itself. The further details will come in the past tense will be more elaborately described in the later part of the book itself.
Okay, because it was Tapan Mishra who invited him for lunch every day.
Yeah. So he was,
So
Lord was
that's
staying in
Maharashtrian.
Chandrasekhar Acharya's home, and
Yes.
Tapan Mishra invited him every day to
Yes.
his home. But Sanatana Goswami decided that I will not go to anybody's house on a regular basis because that is not the role of that's not the behavior of a Vaishnava. So I will go and beg alms and have every day. And another Brahman also invited. So in all the places, Sanatana Goswami asked Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to go and have lunch in each of those places because he's a Lord. He can go and have the prasad in everybody's home. Whereas Sanatana Goswami said, my duty is not to have in each one's house. In fact, I will go and beg for alms, and whatever is received, I will have that. That's what Sanatana Goswami mentioned in this chapter. In the later chapters, it will be more described more in detail, especially in Chaitanya Charitamrita. It will be explained in greater details of what he did, what was served. Everything was described in Chaitanya Charitamrita.
Yes, yes. I'm actually reading that only. And Mataji, who was this Ishan who was the servant? Whose servant was he? Ishan.
Yeah, he was a servant of Sanatana Goswami, right? He had only 8 gold coins.
Yeah.
And then he said that I have 7 gold coins. He gave it to the innkeeper. Later on, Sanatana Goswami realized that he actually had an 8th gold coin. He understood that the servant is very attached to to money. So he'll never be able to renounce everything and come with Sanatana Goswami. So he realized that you're not fit to come with me. So you go, you take the gold coin and you go back home, and then you earn a living, and then you live a normal life. This life is not for you.
Right. So when he was in the jail, that time Sanatana Goswami had this person named Ishan, and he came with him from the jail all the way till means he accompanied Sanatana Goswami right from the jail. Ishan. Okay,
Yeah.
I see. So he was there with him in the jail. Achha. Okay.
I'm not sure whether he was there in the jail with him, inside the jail. I'm not very sure. But when he gave the Rupa Goswami had given him so many gold coins, which he bribed the prison officials. And when he came out and when he decided to go to Benares, because we understood that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was there in Benares, when he went to Benares that time, this person said, I want to come along with you as your servant. And Sanatana Goswami accepted it, and then they were going together. Later on, he said, okay, you're not fit to travel, because you are so much concerned about your future. Traveling mendicant is not generally worried about when will I get my next meal. I don't have to have preparation for it, etc. A grahastha, that is what a grahastha does, right? That's why, we secure ourselves, we have a home, so that, but we dovetail it in the service of the Lord. Now, whereas a traveling mendicant, sannyasis, what do? They're not bothered. Whether if I get something, I will eat. Otherwise, I will eat simply fruits and, whatever is available. Prabhupada took potatoes and went to the Western world. He didn't know whether he will get anything. He was happy to go there because that was his Guru Maharaj's instruction. So he took so many kilos of potatoes and he thought he will live the rest of his life eating potatoes only. So that much is the level of surrender of a traveling mendicant or a sannyasi, isn't it? If you think, what will I get from my next meal? Then will I focus on that or will I focus on my preaching? That's what.
Yes. Prabhupada ji was so surrendered that not only was he able to eat potatoes, but also give gulab jamuns to all his disciples. So
Yeah. So the
yeah.
Lord is eager to please his disciple. The disciple is eager to please the Lord. Just like Sanatana Goswami gave that blanket, it pleased Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Prabhupada pleased his Guru and Krishna by simply taking potatoes, right? Any of us will answer like that? I'm happy to have potatoes for the entire life. And he was 70 years old. It's not that, he's 25, 26, that I can eat whatever I want for the next 20 years and then I can do some exercise and recoup my body. He's already 70 years old. An old man, at the age of 40, 45 only, we get so much gas problem if we eat potatoes, isn't it? Only a pure devotee can do that. We cannot imitate the activities of pure devotees and land ourselves in trouble. Then we cannot maintain our own body where we are going to preach Krishna consciousness. Maslow's theory. First hierarchy is, self-preservation. Otherwise, where bhakti will go out of the window first thing, isn't it? So we should understand our position. And whatever is congenial or favorable for our devotional service, we should immediately grab it. The more and more we give up things, anukulyasya sankalpa, pratikulyasya varjana. We accept whatever is favor of devotional service and we give up everything that is unfavorable. Then the Guru and Gauranga are pleased and they will give us intelligence. What kind of preaching we can do, how much preaching we can do, how much can we sustain, like that. Okay? All right. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Gurudev. Thank